Well, I just spent the last about an hour and 45 minutes picking through every 5/16 and 3/8 oak dowel that Lowe's and Home Depot had. Lowe's didn't have any 3/8 oak dowels that spined right. They had some 5/16 that I didn't bother spining, but made sure they were good grain for the boys. They're 7 and 4. I don't know how critical spine is, as long as they got flu-flus on them. They've been shooting all right so far, but if I don't have my 3/8 spined right, it just goes whack, and I can't deal with that anymore. So I brought my spine tester in there. Lowe's didn't have one that spined right. Home Depot had much better dowels in 3/8. They didn't have any 5/16, and I got 9 3/8 dowels that spined right according to my tester. This is the kind of weather that it's a good day to go build boats in, or excuse me, build arrows in at home inside. I was gonna go boating today, but I don't feel like it. So my buddy, Dr. Frank Schultz, gave me some stone arrowheads. Here's one that's hafted. The shaft's been straightened, knock's been cut. I'm gonna fletcher up. So this basically is how I make my arrows. I select them based on not on straightness of the dowel, because I can straighten that, though a kink could be difficult, and sometimes a really long gradual bend can be real difficult. But the important part of the dowel is this grain runoff, the flames. If there's too many of them at too steep an angle, I don't use that dowel. I like them gradual, as few as can be, where that line there goes as close as possible from one end to the other of the shaft. You got to orient the arrow so that that flame is pointed towards your hand. So when I shoot this arrow will be oriented like that. This is the top side of the arrow, so that if it splits along that grain, the knock half, which is violently propelled forward by the string, will go up away from my arm and hand, I hope. Here's how I reinforce my self-knocks on the wood arrows. So here's the end I start with, right there in the middle of the screen. It goes parallel to the shaft, makes a loop, goes back the other way, and then I wrap, and the tag end is there under my thumb going through the loop. So when I tighten all that up, I'll suck up on the first tag end and bring both ends of the floss, in this case, thread, whatever I'm using, under all the wraps, and cut it close and melt it and glue it on there. So that there is my good flying arrow that I used as the control arrow for the spine tester. It's also what I used to measure them against. So the shoulder starts just a little bit out south of the woody weight, and this is today's master. I cut it long and then gradually cut it down till the shoulder was the same spot as the good flying arrow, and it's the one I'm measuring all of the shafts against today. I put a piece of red fingernail polish on one side of the knock to indicate the cock side, because these are all going to be natural feathers. I got 2 in the fletching jig now, tapered, No point on them yet because that point's heavy. It's going to be 250 grains or so. And just chugging away. I do have my stone arrow finished. My stone tipped arrow. I'll probably trim those down a little bit just so they're less noisy. But I think she's ready, I hope. Spins. It's the shaft is still a little crooked, but I'll straighten her out and I'm excited. When you get a rhythm going, while the glue is drying, you can be cutting and tapering and making knocks and doing other stuff. With these arrows, I'm trying something a little different just to see how I like it. Instead of slobbering glue all over the front of that quill and the threads, tying the front of it down, I'm just heating that waxed artificial thread and getting it all waxy. Getting the wax to melt everywhere, trying to make it one thread and melt the wax from the thread to the shaft and the feather. We'll see how it goes. What we out doing?
Hunting.
I was hoping he would say that we're out testing the new arrows I made. What are we doing?
Testing arrow.
Judos are not loss proof.
The arrow that you shot over there.
It's over here, son.
And over there.
I'll have to come back and look for it when the snow melts. But the spine tester seemed to read him right. Any misses today, I don't think were its fault. They were well in line. It was me. So the two Judos seemed to fly right, even though I lost one. 3 out of the 4 target arrows. That one's a pluck. That one fell right but went left. But 3 out of 4 that look like they shoot right ain't bad. Now this is a horrible group, but you know, what am I gonna do? Hide it? Just having a rough time. I think the one way over to the left is a weak spine. The 2 that are in the bag I think are good. That one to the left, I don't know. I'm having a rough time. I think it's me. Maybe I should add these 3 good ones and see. Or maybe I should just shoot the 3 good ones. There's the group to end on. The old arrows, 2 of which wobble but go where I'm aiming, and 1 that I think I'm going to put a broadhead on and put away. Those feathers ain't been trimmed. That might be part of it. God, I've spent all day building arrows to shoot like crap today. That piss you right off. So when I'm building my good hunting arrows, this is one of them ones. It's an older arrow. It was a small game arrow, shot well, broke the tip off right at the shoulder. Put a field point on it because I wanted more field points. It shoots well, so I took the field point off. I'm putting on a broadhead. And I'm adding it to my stable of other established good arrows that go where I aim. And I labeled them all. I had to go back and relabel them. Arrows 1 through 5. Oh, 6 slid down. So not only do I label my good hunting shafts, I label the broadheads. So you see broadhead 5 is on shaft number 1, so on for 6 of them. They don't, broadhead numbers don't necessarily match the shafts, but I ordered more shafts or more broadheads. So broadhead 7 is going to go on shaft 7. Hot glue it on. I'm going to test the broadhead arrows extensively before I hunt with them. And if they're not right, I will fool around with the arrow some more, because it needs to be as good as I can get it. And if I can't get it that well, I won't use it. Then once you have the damn thing on there, you got to make sure it's straight somehow. I generally start by eyeballing the shaft. Whoops, camera's there. Make sure the shaft is straight. Then you can do these sorts of things. Looks pretty straight to me, dang. Hot dang! Sometimes I'll pick like a straight line on a wall, like a corner, something like that. Make sure the shaft lines up with that. Of course, everything would be easier if I just had a spinner. Might build one of those. Or maybe it'll go on the birthday list with the spine tester. It looks pretty damn straight. Gonna shoot it and see. If you have trouble with your heads coming off, you can put some hot glue at the shoulder there. Try to level that out. I may do that. Melt some glue on there or something. Haven't had too much trouble with the broadheads coming out though. Now, to practice with them, all I did was take the burr off. I'm not going to get it hair popping sharp to practice and tune the arrow. Once I know the arrow is good, I will sharpen that up and make it hair popping sharp. But to practice with, new out of the box, all I did was take the burr off. And to do that, I laid it flat on a stone on the back side and scraped. And then if the burr came to the bevel side, I gave it a swipe or two to push the burr back, and then went back to this side to knock the burr off. And I believe this arrow is ready for testing. Not sure I'll do that today. I'm making some more arrows. I took the field point off of this. It's going to go on a new arrow that is currently on the jig. So, label the arrows. Broadhead 7 happens to be on shaft 7. And I'll test it before I hunt with it. Just a thought on building arrows cheap. The less you spend on them, the more inconsistent the raw materials are going to be. If you spend a little more on them, they'll be consistent. More consistent. Or less inconsistent. Right?
Sure. Money.
These dowels, these were too weak for my recurve, but they work pretty good with this fiberglass takedown bow. And I hate to say it, but so many successful channels say it. If you like the videos, please like, comment, subscribe. Feels funny to say it, but